I'd be willing to bet that the majority of people that start taking performance enhancing drugs probably don't like the way they look because they see people on Instagram or bodybuilding shows, movies, whatever, and think, I don't look like that. I don't like the way I look. I want to look like that. This is the best way to do it. But here's the thing. If you can't get to a point where you're satisfied with the way you look naturally, then you will never be satisfied no matter what you take. And just to say right off the bat, I don't care if you're taking stuff, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just pointing out that if you have body dysmorphia, then taking PEDs is probably gonna make that even worse. And I wanna talk about a few aspects of it that people probably don't really consider going into it. And before we do, just let me know down in the comments what type of supplements do you take right now for your workout program. So here's a scenario. You start taking testosterone or tren or whatever of the many other steroids or SARMs that are out there, and you start taking it, your performance goes up quickly, your body starts changing faster, all these things are working out great. But then what? Eventually you have to stop because these things are not good for you. And then what happens? You don't look as good. You start losing strength. You don't look like you did when you were peaked, and then you're not happy with your physique. You might have liked it for a certain point of time when you reach that point, but then when you stop, you start losing those gains because if you blow past your genetic limit, you stop taking those things, and now you can't maintain that anymore, and your body's naturally gonna lose back to what it's capable of handling on its own. But you're also probably gonna have lower testosterone, which is gonna cause even more problems, and you'll lose even more. So it comes to, you end up not being happy, your lifts aren't going as well, you feel weaker in the gym, and it's just not fun anymore. I mean, look at people like even Chris Bumstead all the time when he's not in competition. He's always got shirts, hoodies, all the stuff on in the gym, and doesn't want to show himself because he's doesn't like the way he looks unless he's in peak contest condition, which you can't be in year round. It's not realistic. Or even guys like James English, he did his first bodybuilding shows, 2 of them back to back, then he won his pro card, and after that, he didn't work out for a long time. He came off his supplements he was taking, he wasn't enjoying the gym as much anymore, didn't work out for a while, and made a video about how his head wasn't in the game at this point. And there are a lot of other fitness YouTubers I've seen talk about these same type of things, the ones that are open with their PED use. The same goes with cutting. If you're used to taking PEDs to help you lose weight, to cut weight, to maintain muscle while you're cutting down fat, then you get to the point where you feel like you have to have that type of stuff if you want to lose weight. And I get it. If you want to be a professional bodybuilder, it's going to come to the point where you have to take these things if you want to succeed in your sport. But the average person is not going to do that. They just want to be big. They want to look like Thor or Chris Evans, Captain America, whoever. These guys who look good on the big screen, who a lot of times probably don't even actually look like that. Got videos on that you can check out if you want. CGI is involved in some of that stuff. But everybody has this I want it now mentality, and what happens is those folks tend to quit sooner than someone who stays natural. I mean, take Seuss for example. If I remember right, when he said he started working out, after 6 months he started taking PEDs a few years ago, and now the dude barely even works out. And recently he just started posting again, showing he's working out and whatnot. And you can bet he's probably back on taking those PEDs to help him get those gains back as quick as possible that he lost. And look, I can totally understand how this feels. You get used to doing something, you feel like you need that. I mean, even with pre-workouts, I used to never take pre-workouts until a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years now, and now I feel like, oh, I need to have this if I want to get the best workout I can. If I'm gonna have the best chance at breaking a PR, I want to make sure I take my pre-workout. Got to take creatine every day. And yes, these things do help, but it can be a real psychological battle that you come up to when you get so used to taking these things and dependent on them. They help, but it's not something you actually need to have just to progress in the gym. So if you already have body dysmorphia and you think that PEDs are gonna help you get the way you wanna look, you're always gonna have a higher and higher standard that you're gonna want. It's not gonna be good enough. You're gonna see someone else on Instagram or some movie and think, oh, I don't look like that yet. I gotta keep doing more and more and more. And eventually, like I said, you're gonna have to come off that stuff, and then you're gonna be even less happy with your physique at that point because you're thinking of how you used to look. And I need this to look that way again. And either you're gonna keep taking more to the point where it's gonna really hurt your health, and then, I mean, the whole point of exercise and fitness is to be healthy, but most of the fitness industry is far from healthy with what they're pushing. But being at a healthy body fat is what it's all about. And if you get to a point where you can be natural, get to an amount of leanness you want, and still build muscle, it doesn't take a lot. Like, I can maintain what I am right now pretty easily. I don't have to be super strict on my diet. I try to eat a certain amount of protein every day and just be aware of what I'm eating. I choose a lot of lower calorie options for foods, and it helps me to look the way I want. I'm not getting weaker because I'm not taking anything to help me get stronger. If you think about, I'm taking all these PEDs, I get up to where I can bench 315 for 10 reps, and then you come off because you wanna get your health right and all that stuff, and then you start losing strength and it's like, oh, now I can only do like 250 for 10, and you feel like, oh, I'm so weak. Like, that type of thing is not going to happen to you. And you just have to realize that you can't look like someone else. Everything is different about you. Your genetics, the way your muscles are shaped, the way your body is built, the way you respond to things, it's going to be different for every single person. So learn a program that works best for you and your schedule that you can stick to and stay with it long term, and just judge yourself based on what you used to look like. Now, if you were taking PEDs and now you're not, then it's going to be hard to judge yourself based on what you used to look like, because it's always going to be better. But for someone like me, I can just continue progressing, get a little bit stronger every year, and eventually it's gonna stop. Say maybe I got to where I could bench 315 for 1 rep and that was my max. And well, if I take PEDs, I can go up to 405. Okay, yeah, but then you're eventually gonna have a limit no matter what you take, no matter how much you take. So what's so bad about having a natural limit? You get to that natural limit, you know, I've done what I can with my body and that's good. And now I'm just gonna try to maintain that as long as possible and be healthy. That's what it's all about. I really highly suggest before you start turning to any kind of supplements, PEDs, anything, even stuff like creatine and pre-workouts, figure out how to maximize or optimize your diet, your training, your sleep. Because if you don't have those 3 things down, it doesn't matter if you take drugs. They can help you build quicker, but it's still going to be detrimental to your progress. You need to learn a diet, whether that's to build muscle, get lean, both, depending on what you need to do. Sleep, you need to get enough sleep all the time. And I've got 5 kids. A lot of times I don't get enough sleep, but it's a goal of mine to try to get at least 7 hours every night. And then of course, training. Get some kind of consistent training program that you can stick to, that you like, because if you don't like it, you're not going to stick to it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know there's a lot of haters out there. I've seen a lot of comments from people in forums and whatnot saying, I don't care, life is short, I'm just going to blast and look the way I want. But if the way your body looks is what brings you the most joy in life, I'm sorry, but that's pretty shallow. I'm saying it, calling it right now. There's a whole lot more to life than that. Relationships, other people doing things. And the ironic thing is people are like, I want to have as many thrills as possible. Well, if you live longer, you can experience more thrills throughout your life. So keep that in mind. Check me out at Camber Fitness, and I'll see you in the next one.